Students of Reddit. What makes a teacher a good bad teacher? One likes children and it shows. I'm long out of school, and I encountered too many teachers in my day who were teaching for the wrong reasons, i.e. summers off, and it 100 showed. Too passionate, or at least enthusiastic, about their subject. If the teacher isn't interested in it, how will the student be interested? 3 treats all students equally and holds them all to the same standards. 4 has clear and reasonable expectations for students. 5 is approachable and, when needed, compassionate. 6 teaches the subject, but also allows a little time for fun and discussion as well. Good teacher tries to teach you something, tells you about how it was when they were growing up to relate to you. Kind way of communicating. College snarky and snobby attitude when you are asking them for help. Why didn't you pay attention in class? Why aren't you doing the readings? It's usually because they suck at teaching to begin with. I once had an old teacher who was very polite and gentle. All she wanted was that we pay respect to her and treat her like she's our grandmother. When you do that, you pass the subject. But she really don't know how to teach. She just writes some stuff on the board and really don't explain it. I failed her subject even though I passed all her exam because I was not assisting her carry her bag every time we see each other in the hallway. She was a good person but a terrible teacher. Teachers that don't let their students fail. How TF do you have a student entering your class every day with a F, no homework turned in, and don't check up on them? They might be depressed. They might literally be confused and not understand anything in your class. Or they might have a neurodivergent problem that hasn't been addressed. It shocks me how teachers live with themselves knowing a student might not graduate. A bad teacher is one who wants their students to like them and to get good grades. There was a teacher I had like that in high school. Most of the students loved him because he'd joke around a lot in class and was a really easy grader. A lot of those opinions changed at the end of the year when kids who were getting A's in the class didn't pass the AP test because he hadn't actually taught them the material. A good teacher cares about the students and tries to teach the material to the students. It generally helps if they know the material. Also, they don't punish students for things they didn't do. Don't blame them for everything that goes wrong. Don't make bigoted comments, and don't make threats. And also they proofread their exams for typos and formatting issues before administering them. That takes out their clearly personal issues on the students. Screams a lot. Collective punishment for the actions of few. Other example: no ability whatsoever to control a classroom. Good takes a marginal interest in students' well-being. Likes their subject even if you don't and wants to teach. Kids actually like the teacher, acknowledges and does something about bullying. There's no bad student, only bad teacher. A fun teacher is the worst type of teacher, or they waste time showing something that half the time doesn't need a whole 10 minutes to explain or just show. A good teacher wants to and enjoys teaching. They can relate to you and they make it fun and easy to learn. They want to help you and they want to see you succeed. Preferably funny. I had a teacher like this. He was incredible. Unfortunately, he quit halfway through the year due to mistreatment by the staff and school administration higher-ups. I had teachers who just read off of slides in a monotone voice, and those ones are probably the least engaging. Many people would just skip class and read the presentations later. I think the best teachers are the ones who ask students thoughtful questions and make people wonder how the world works. However, that is pretty hard to do in general. Yelling. A good teacher never yells, because they don't let it get to that point. You can also often tell how good a teacher is by how they are treated by the students. Don't get me wrong. All students should treat teachers with respect. But chances are if the students treat the teacher badly, the teacher isn't good at teaching. A teacher should be flexible with their students, especially those who struggle with certain material, have learning deficiencies, and are living difficult home lives. They should be able to get the students caught up if absent and happily work out what needs to be done versus what can be pushed aside for more important things. A good teacher knows how to break things down into digestible chunks so that a beginner can understand. A bad teacher teaches as if they're assuming everyone is already an expert on the topic. They don't explain terminology. They don't explain why things are done. They just assume that you already know it. A good teacher engages with the topic, asks for student input and listens to what they have to say. There is a lot of discussion involved instead of only lectures. The worst teachers are typically ones who are just going by the textbook and nothing more. It leads to a very boring class for students. A passion for their subject, an ability to dish it out, being a hard ass about their subject, having a sense of humor, commanding control of the classroom through a delicate balance of hard-assery and softness. Best teachers I ever had could practically control the class with their minds. Someone who actually listens to the students' problems and instead of putting them down like it wasn't that hard, they actually take the time to go through and help the student understand. Bonus points if they're a bit drama queen. Makes for fun interactions. If they are excited for the subject they are teaching, it will usually be a fun, interesting class. If they have no investment and make it feel like as much of a drag for them as it is us, it's terrible. That is a big difference between a good and bad teacher. You pass what you need to pass and always encourages you. A bad teacher is one who blames you for failing instead of helping, or a teacher who is just there for a paycheck and doesn't actually care. Acknowledge communication skills, empathy, adaptability, and a passion for teaching. While bad teachers may lack these qualities and exhibit behaviors that hinder students' learning and development, a good teacher is someone who wants to be friends with the students, not show that they are better, smarter than them. Same thing goes as wanting to show what they've learned, and just being excited about what they know. A good teacher will admit when they're wrong. So many of my teachers would force you to accept their wrong answer as right just so it wasn't a challenge to their authority even when they knew they were wrong. Good if they actually try to facilitate one-on-one learning when the class is small enough to make sure every student is meeting expectations. Bad if they base the standard for the class on the smartest person. Someone who will listen and respect you given that you give them respect as well. Someone who is okay with being proven wrong and one that genuinely has a passion for their subject. One that isn't allergic to critics' correction. I had teachers who think they're always right. I have one or two teachers like that and know the tension between us is ugly. A good teacher wants to teach. A bad one doesn't. He plays micro's dirty jobs and then yells at you and fails state testing because you didn't cheat. A talent or honed skill for communication, a passion for the given curriculum, and the belief that each student is capable of improving and learning. Genuinely caring about your students, having a positive attitude, and enthusiasm toward what you're teaching, not just reading off a PowerPoint. Someone willing to be challenged respectfully and willing to admit a mistake. Thank you, Mr. Rocks and Mr. Moss. You did both back in the day. Good communication and realizing that not every student is the same. Also, not giving out homework. That's like top tier right there. Best teacher I ever had explain everything in multiple ways. He made sure everyone in the class who wanted to learn would understand. Good doesn't care and pretty nice. Can control the class. Bad super strict stupid rules and stupid rubric on already hard projects. The only thing required to teach is respect. Children typically aren't capable of learning much from a person they don't respect. A good teacher answers questions and helps students do their best and genuinely wants to make learning fun for the students. Their knowledge or lack of knowledge of the subject that they teach. That's got to be the most important thing. A bad teacher is one who's a pervert and who get away with it. Kindness, as silly as it may sound. Many teachers lose this simple quality over a long period of service. The best teachers I had made class engaging, passionate about whatever they're teaching. Students in my secondary school. Good teachers are the ones who don't punish students. A good teacher makes you look forward to attending a very difficult subject, doesn't talk down to their students and isn't just teaching for the test. Makes a massive difference when they're passionate about their subject.